The Oscars are less than a week away, and I've now seen all 10 Best Picture nominees, so I'm going to rank them all right here. Before I get started, make sure to like this video, follow me on all my social media accounts, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd. Helps a lot. Leave your ranking down below in the comments, but let's get to number 10, which is going to be Maestro. Maestro is a film that I haven't gone back to personally. I've only seen it once so far. I was lucky enough to see this one in theaters. Usually I don't see Netflix movies in theaters, but this one I was able to. I saw it at the little theater downtown, and I will say Bradley Cooper right here, he gives an amazing performance. I think he's in my top three of my best actor nominees and all that. Also, I think Carey Mulligan is really selling a lot of the emotional moments here. I think that she is one of my favorite actresses working today. She also gave a great performance in Spaceman, which was a disappointing movie, but I think that she just gives a great performance in anything. Also, Saltburn, she was really funny in that. All the musical moments and conducting moments in here are really great. I think those are easily the standout moments. And I think the makeup in here and hairstyling is, of course, excellent. You know, the transformation that Bradley Cooper had to go through. There's been a lot of memes surrounding this film of just people making fun of Bradley Cooper and how he's just trying to win an Oscar. And I kind of do agree. It's kind of Oscar bait, but I will say the makeup work is really well done by the makeup team. So I got to give them a huge round of applause for that. And where this movie struggles with me is that I didn't feel a lot of the emotion that they're trying to make you feel right here. And it is a little too long for me. I think that has to do with the pacing. I think the pacing just doesn't work for me at all. It's paced a little too weirdly for me, but I will say the performances really sold the movie. I do like the first half more than the second half. I feel like the first half has a lot of more, greater moments, greater highs. And there's such a funny moment in here when Snoopy, that big parade, a balloon of Snoopy just passes by the window. That is such a funny moment in such an unfunny movie. Like, I didn't understand that, but Maestro coming in 10th place, it's good, not great. American Fiction. I've seen this twice so far, and I think it's really great. I saw this at a mystery screening for Regal, like all the way back in November, like a couple weeks before it came out, and I was like, damn, this is good. Everyone's got to go see this. So if you haven't seen this movie, it should be out in digital right now. You can go buy it and all that. And it's probably one of the funniest movies of last year, I would say. And I will say, this is ninth place in my best picture rankings, but this is still an 8 out of 10. So we're in like the great ranking territory. I didn't dislike any of the best picture nominees this year. Think they're all just good to great. And yeah, it's easily one of the funniest movies of last year. I was just laughing like every 5 minutes. It's a satire. If you don't like the comedic moments, that's on you. But I really did enjoy him. And I will say, I think it's easily Jeffrey Wright's best performance he's ever had. He really sells this wacky satirical role that he's in. He has a couple emotional moments that I really did enjoy, but I just love how he's just talking to people. He doesn't have a care in the world. Sometimes really rude, but he's really funny when he does it. And Core Jefferson directed this, and he deserves a lot more work after this. Really impressed with his direction in this movie. Fantastic script also. I hope, I don't know who's going to win adapted screenplay, but I also haven't read the book of this called Erasure, I think it's called. But I love the script here. I wouldn't care if this or Oppenheimer won for adapted, but I'm holding out hope for this to win. And I'm really happy that Sterling K. Brown got a supporting actor nomination for this role, because he holds a lot of heart of this movie, plays a big middleman role, I would say, and his line delivery is so laugh out loud funny. He has some of the funniest moments in this movie, and I loved his relationship with Jeffrey Wright's character. I love that brotherly relationship right there. And he just holds it down. I think he holds the movie down really well. So I loved his supporting performance. And just I think the movie flows so well. I really like the ending. Ended on such a high note. Started on such a high note. Had some great emotional moments. It's just great. In 8th place, I got The Zone of Interest. This one I was really late to because it never went to my theater market. So I just watched it like last week on digital. And I will say, it's easily the most haunting film out of all the 10 Best Picture nominees. And it's probably one I won't go back to for probably a long time, or maybe not never again, because it is terrifying. It's an utterly terrifying movie to watch because of the direction, how the direction was handled by Jonathan Glazer. I now understand why he got nominated for director, because he really did go for it here. And I was just scared the whole movie because of what he was going for here with the story, what was going to come next. And it's one of those Holocaust movies where you're like, I don't want to see any bad imagery, and that's how they get you. They don't really show you any terrible imagery. They just get you through the sounds of this movie and like where they're located. And the sound design, as I said, is one of the biggest standouts of this film for me personally, because you have a lot of moments where sound is used heavily, then you have a lot of moments where it's very silent. And when the sound is used, I think it's used very well, and it fills you with much, that big terrible gut feeling. But when there's no sound, I feel like I was even more scared, because I love when a movie is very smart and uses no sound in those specific moments. And I was just fearing what is to come. Like, what shot are they going to show next? How is this family going to deal with, the concentration camp they're living right next to? And I think those are the best moments, as I said, when there's no sound, you're just fearing what's going to come next. A very haunting film. And this one probably out of all 10 is not going to work for a lot of people. You know, I just really love the filmmaking aspect of it, but a lot of people will not like it because of how slow it is. But it just fills you with so much terror of just what's to come. And I was like, this is terrifying. But Jonathan Glazer, man, his direction is outstanding here. Next up, I got Barbie. I will say the Barbenheimer event was one of the biggest cinematic events of my lifetime, I think, and of all time. What a crazy time to be alive last summer, to just go to the theater, see everyone there. Barbie, Oppenheimer, everyone's just seeing multiple things. It was so cool to see everyone dressed up and all that. Everyone, you just had a great time. And I will say, it was just cool. It was just an awesome moment as a film fan, because you always have those little slight months where no one's going to the theater. That was kind of like February and January. No one was going. Now everyone's going for now everyone's going for Dune, and just it fills me with so much joy, like Barbenheimer did. Barbenheimer is just so awesome to see everyone, guys, girls, older people, younger people, just going to see both those movies. I really enjoyed that time, and I really liked how this film didn't take itself too seriously. It did have some serious moments in there, with female representation and all that, but it had fun with its premise. It had fun with itself. The script was very fun, very funny script, as I said. And I loved everything in Barbie Land here. I think that was easily the best part of the movie. When they did go to the real world, when they're visiting the Mattel Corporation, and you see Will Ferrell there, I think that's where the film kind of slowed down a lot for me. It didn't really work for me when they tried to do like a car commercial kind of chase scene. That's where the film didn't work for me. I think this film's amazing. Could have been, top three, top four, if just the real world stuff didn't, happen. I wasn't really with that. I loved everything in Barbie Land, though. I thought that was just amazing. Like, the production and costume design there are just, they feel just so fake, but just feel like Barbie Land, which is, what it should feel like. And I loved what they were doing there. Margot Robbie was great. I wouldn't say this is her best role. I think her and Tanya, I think is her best role, but she's really great here. Sells the emotional moments. Ryan Gosling, though, was easily my favorite part of the movie, because he's literally just me. He's my favorite actor. What am I supposed to say? He did a great job, and I'm just Ken dance sequence with all the Kens was one of my favorite scenes last year. I thought it was great, and I would love more sequels and spinoffs to this movie. Would love a Ken movie. Would love a Barbie sequel. They haven't said if they're gonna do it, but this movie made, like, how much did it make? Like $1.5 billion. It made so much at the box office. I wouldn't know how you couldn't make more sequels to this, but I think you'd still need Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach to make those sequels to keep the, joy and keep it very special for everyone to go back and watch the sequels. In sixth, I got Anatomy of a Fall. This film kind of just, I was really excited to watch this, and I saw it in a really small theater. Same theater I saw Maestro in, kind of like a big filmmaker theater, I will call it, and I had a great experience with this one. I was very sick at the time when I did watch it, but I still love the experience, and I really just love courtroom like dramas. Every one of those movies, I really do love them, especially if they're done right. And I will say that this one was done, in a great way. I loved how Justine Triet's direction was done. She directed the hell out of this, because you gotta have great direction in your courtroom movies. I will say that you gotta make it a mystery, make me feel like I don't know what's going on. You gotta explain it in the courtroom, and I'm there, with the characters, getting all this information for the first time. That's why I love it, and I think this film did a great job with it. And I do kind of like how ambiguous the ending is. You don't really know the truth of what happened. And, I feel like that's really well done. Some people can say maybe the ending's not ambiguous. I think it was pretty ambiguous. Sandra Hüller, wow. I think that she easily brings in one of the best performances of last year. She's probably my second favorite to win Best Actress this year. I thought she was terrific, and she just held her own, especially when they're in the courtroom. I loved what she was doing here with that performance. And the dog and the son were also big standouts. We all love the dog in here. I forget his name, but everyone just loves him. And the script was very clean, and it might win for screenplay. I'm not really sure if it will. I think it's nominated for original screenplay. But it might win. I'm just not my favorite to win original, but I love the script here. And I will say, A little bit of a gripe for me. It's not a perfect movie at all. I think it's a little too long for me personally, but the courtroom scenes really made up for it. I think those were easily the best parts of the movie, and I just love a good courtroom scene where everyone's arguing. I thought that's just great, and just courtroom dramas. There's some good stuff. Past Lives is one of the most devastating and emotional movies of last year. It was my most emotional movie last year until the Iron Claw came out at like the second to last week of the year, but this is still probably the second most emotional movie last year. The theater experience, I was just, when the credits started rolling when I first watched it, I was just sitting there. I was like, wow, what a film, what an emotional film, because that ending really hits you. Like, if you haven't seen this movie, watch it. It's only like an hour and 45 minutes, and the ending really hit me when I watched it, because it's just the feeling of your past lives and what could have been. It really hits me personally, and really hits, I think, anyone in life really hard, because you're thinking like, oh, what could I have changed in my life? What could have been better? You're thinking, maybe I changed that. How could my life have been changed? What are these past relationships that I could have been in? And Celine Song's direction really blew me away. It sucks she wasn't nominated, but there's just so many great directors this year. And it sucks that all the great performances of this movie weren't nominated. Like, it's a fantastic trio between Greta Lee, Teo Yu, and John Magaro. I loved all three performances, Greta Lee especially, and John Magaro. Not a lot of people are giving him the hype that he deserves, but I think he deserves a lot of it. Like, he does great, especially in that second half. And also, it's probably, I don't know, it's probably like top five screenplay for me this year. I thought the pace in this, as I said, worked very well. As I said, it's only an hour and 45 or something like that, maybe an hour and 30. Short and sweet with a very emotional ending. I loved Celine Song's work on this one. And she said it was kind of like a little bit of a true story of her life. So that was really cool to see. But yeah, such an emotional film. Coming in fourth is Killers of the Flower Moon. This was my first kind of entry point in learning about the Osage Nation and the murders and all the horrible things that happened to them, which is kind of disappointing because, you think they'd talk about that in school, but I never got taught about any of that Osage stuff in school. So this is kind of my learning experience was this movie. And Martin Scorsese made a huge movie with a 3.5 hour runtime, and somehow he did it in an amazing way. I know some people complained about the pace, and I will say it might be like maybe 15-20 minutes too long for me personally, but I still think he did it in such a great way. He did it in such a beautiful way, I'd say, and it's dense and it leaves you feeling terrible, but that impact is what matters most, I'd say, about the movie. Lily Gladstone is the true emotion of the movie, I think, and truly holds the movie together. She's like the only good person in the movie. And I wish she had more screen time because the little bit of screen time that she had, she did fantastic. And if she did have more screen time, she'd probably be my favorite actress to win Best Actress this year. But she just doesn't have enough screen time for me to put her in that number one position. But I will say, I think she might win now, but she's not my favorite to win, but I thought she did great. Leonardo DiCaprio, and Robert De Niro play some terrible men in this one who would just want to steal the oil, land, and money from the Osage Nation, and they both nail their roles. But it's funny to see Leo in this one. He's always just, I don't know what his facial expression is in this movie, but he's always just has a smug look on his face. It's absolutely hilarious once you watch it a couple times. I saw it like twice in theaters, really enjoyed it a lot, even though it is a tough movie to watch. Thought the ending was also really well done with Martin Scorsese he did there. But yeah, such a tough watch, but a great learning experience for me. Next up, I got The Holdovers. I was absolutely loving this film during the whole entire runtime. It filled me with so much joy. I was able to see this one early, so I saw it in like an early screening in the late October. It was so weird to watch it in October because you're still in fall, and this is kind of like a winter movie. I think this one came out in November officially. So it was weird to see in October, but it still really worked for me. I still loved every single moment. And it's going to be a new Christmas rewatch for me every single year. I just love the setting, just being at the school. Any movie with snow falling or, just has snow in it holds a very special place in my heart because I just love the look of snow. And yeah, so much love and care was put into this movie. And Dominic Sessa, what a fantastic performance from him. And he really almost stole the show in his first ever, acting role. This is his first ever role, and he was great. I was just blown away by what he did. And he sells the emotion when the emotion needs to be sold. He has a lot of funny moments, especially when he goes into the gym and just like he like dislocates his shoulder and all that. That was so hilarious. A lot of hilarious moments in here. Another very funny movie from last year. Divine Joy Randolph What else do I gotta say? She's easily gonna win the Oscar. She's been sweeping this award season. Paul Giamatti was also perfect. This man's perfect in anything that he does. He plays the role of the stubborn teacher that eventually opens up to the student. And I don't think he's gonna win Best Actor, but he does have a chance. And I also love the script. It's just so hilarious. Has so much heart. Oppenheimer Cousins comes in second place for me, but a very close second place. I'll say that. It's my second favorite IMAX experience of all time. It was my favorite, but Dune Part 2 did take that favorite spot away from it. Truly extraordinary filmmaking and visuals done here by Christopher Nolan and Hoyte van Hoytema, who hopefully will both be getting their first Oscars come just in a few days. And there are so many moments in here just to look back on and be like, wow, I can't believe I experienced that in IMAX. I saw it like 5 times in IMAX. This is a special film for me that I literally said, I'm not seeing this in standard. I'm only seeing it in IMAX. That's what I did. Saw it only 5 times in IMAX and none in standard. Because I think the only way to experience this movie was in IMAX for that intense sound IMAX ratio. Just the cinematography from Hoyte van Hoytema was out of this world. And there's, as I said, there's so many great sequences. The Trinity's test sequence, when I first watched it for the first time, made me so nervous in my seat. I was like, what's going to happen? Is this bomb dropping on me? But the bomb sequence totally lived up to the hype. And I just cannot wait for Oscar Sunday when this is going to win so many Oscars. Hopefully Best Picture, but man, it's going to really sweep. And it's not going to win all of them, but it's going to win so many of them. I cannot wait. Poor Things comes in as my favorite Best Picture nominee. And this film is, since it did come out on digital, it's opening up to a lot of controversy. About people that don't understand the messages of this movie, and the direct, and people say it's the nudity. There's a lot of nudity and sex scenes in here that people are saying that are bad, but the director and Emma Stone herself came out and said about what those mean and how they were fine making them. So I don't know what the controversy is for, since Yorgos came out and Emma came out and talked about it, but I was absolutely mesmerized for this film. It was one of my most anticipated films of the year. Was my favorite film of 2023. I loved it so much. Yorgos Lanthimos has always been one of the most unique directors to date, with this, The Lobster, The Favorite, all those. Sacred Killing of a Sacred Deer is also one that just, I was like, what the heck am I watching here? And after this, he's probably one of my favorite directors. He's probably in my top 10. He's probably standing in top 10, close top 5 and all that. Because his movies are wacky, but he knows how to direct a very wacky movie to make it feel so real, so lived in. Especially this. This actually felt like a lived in steampunk world. Love steampunk movies, especially like this, how they're done. The black and white sequences were cool. Color sequences were cool. It's very funny. I'll say that. I love the funny moments here. I loved how a lot of this movie, it's filled with a lot of different themes and messages, but it's also very hard R, so crazy, so wacky, so funny. But the themes and messages stand out a lot on like those multiple viewings. And I do think this comes out March 7th on Hulu, so that's very soon. So if you haven't seen it before Oscar Sunday, make sure to get it in. But it's hard R, so make sure you're of age to watch this thing. And the production design and costume design, wow, out of this world stuff right here. And I hope they both win at the Oscars, because I know a lot of people are hoping for Barbie to win costumes or production. But what I think Poor Things is just holding up as so much more special to me, because it feels so detailed, so steampunk, and it also feels so lived in. I know I can't say that about Barbie, because Barbie's a fake world, but this just feels like you're watching the movie. Every set just feels so real, so built. I just loved how detailed everything was. And the costumes, Emma Stone's wearing so many different costumes here, and I loved how unique they all were, how colorful they were, how dark some of them were. It's some great costume work, and it's great makeup and hairstyling. Also, Emma's hair was fantastic. But can we talk about Willem Dafoe? Willem Dafoe is like the heart of the movie. He was scary. Do you see his makeup on there? Makeup and hair is going to go down to either Maestro or this, and I'm actually hoping this wins, because I think the hair and makeup is done. It's so much more different than Maestro. And I will say, Maestro, we award it for like real people, going back. This is so different. It's so cool, and I love the hairstyling here. And Emma Stone is, of course, my favorite to win the Best Actress Oscar. I don't know if she's going to win, because a lot of people are going for Lily Gladstone, but I think that Emma Stone is a true lead of her film, compared to Lily Gladstone is not like the lead there. And Emma Stone really went for it all. She goes for a lot of brave things here. It's a brave role to take, because it's a very silly role. A lot of people, it could have been really bad for her to take this, and but she nailed it. I thought she really did, so I loved her performance here. One of my favorite actresses out of all time. Mark Ruffalo really did steal the show, though, for me personally, just how ridiculous and stupid his character is. And I thought he was so funny. And it was cool to see him fail and get so angry a lot of times, and his accent was also hilarious. And also, what a weird and rambunctious score this was. I forgot who composed this movie, but the score was so odd and out of this world, but it fit this movie so well. And I just listening to a couple of the tracks just a couple of days ago, and I think it works a lot outside the film too. Such a weird film, but Poor Things is my favorite of the 10 Best Picture nominees. So that's my ranking of all 10 Best Picture nominees before Oscar Sunday. As I said, leave your ranking down below. If you did enjoy this ranking, make sure to leave a like on this video. It helps it a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.